We're also following breaking news out of the tech world tonight that you may have heard about. Amazon set to announce massive layoffs, as many as 30,000 corporate job cuts. That, according to Reuters. CNBC reporting it will be the largest cuts in the company's history. NBC's Christine Romans joins us now on set. Christine, so great to see you and talk to you. This is a huge headline, and it's sort of wild because it's one of the biggest companies in the world. And if they're cutting 30,000 people, what does that say for other companies across the country?
And they're cutting things like advertising and HR and cloud. They're cutting white-collar jobs. 10% of their corporate office jobs here is what these reports are. Amazon, of course, not commenting, but these are supposed to start tomorrow. These pink slips will start tomorrow. And I think it shows you that using AI for cost cutting is essentially the holy grail for these big companies. They want to use artificial intelligence to figure out how to take out layers in the office, how to make people more productive, and how to move some of this work to other functions, AI functions.
And we were just talking about AWS, I think, last week with your colleague Brian Chung here. Explain to our viewers, this is sort of scary. We don't want to scare people out there, but Amazon is a tech company. They're obviously invested in AI. We just had Vicky Nguyen here talking about AI in the stock rooms. This is different, though, because they have the technology to do AWS, but they're also cutting through AI. And it's kind of putting those two ideas together, right?
Yeah, and it's really interesting to me. They grew like gangbusters through the pandemic, added all these workers, and then realized they had too many workers, and they cut 27,000. I think in 2022, they had a huge downsizing. And this is on top of that. This is even bigger than that, Tom, if it's indeed 30,000 jobs.
And it's your understanding it's because of AI? They're figuring out jobs that AI can take, some of them?
They're cutting costs. Andy Jassy, the CEO this summer, in a memo to employees in June, said they would do everything and they would use any technology they could to cut costs.
What people don't understand is these companies are not beholden to the workers. They are beholden to shareholders. And so when you are looking to a company or the federal government, because the federal government has laid off a lot of people also, when you are looking to a company to save you, when you are looking to them to keep you, when I tell people that they need to go into degree programs, and now it's going to be a little bit different. I think that you now have to figure out how to create a job for yourself, and I'm going to get into that here, and I'm going to also get into it on the Millionaire Morning Show. You have to understand that it's the investors are the ones that profit, and so they have to bring shareholder value. And if they can cut costs, especially a person like this, who the CEO of Amazon is the former AWS boss who was promoted, then they will do that. And so you can't look to these companies to save you, and you got to get a degree if you're going to go into the corporate workforce that is going to add value to the company. It's not about just getting a degree. I know it's a lot of women that was complaining. I got review videos that's coming up where women were basically saying, I can't believe it. I was got 2 degrees. Yeah, but you got it in underwater basket weaving and psychology. If you don't have it in AI machine learning, if you can't leverage this in order to go into certain degree fields as an engineer of some sort, if you don't have a physical, and this is one of the things that's going to be big, I think, going forward, but it also upends the whole work from home culture, because those jobs are going to be highly sought after, way more highly sought after. You're going to have to get a physical job, which is going to, in my opinion, absolutely decimate the possibility of women being able to compete, because they can't physically compete the way that men do, and they generally don't go into STEM field programs. I think healthcare is going to be big. Of course, we already know AI, every prompt engineering, AI, machine learning, all of that type of stuff. I talk about it on the Patreon. But you're going to have to become something that physically requires you to be there. Plumbers, electricians, skilled trades, I believe, is going to continue to boom, all of that type of stuff. But when it comes to these companies and corporations like Amazon, and any corporation for that matter, because usually what happens is the tech world is the ones that do things first. And then what follows after is all of the other industries start to follow in their footsteps and trickle down. And so you have to start adjusting. If I am a person that is in a workforce, and I retired at the end of 2024. Actually, I retired in 2019 first, and then I got brought back into corporate America, and then I retired again in 2024. If I am a person that is in corporate America, I am already investing in myself. I'm already developing a new skill set. I'm already getting a hustle, and I'm creating a job for myself, because I think that that's where the new economy is going to go. But But people that are waiting for somebody to happen or waiting for a job to come to them, they're going to be the first ones to get slaughtered.
This is something that the companies all across the board have been doing since the pandemic era, what they call overhiring. A lot of these companies saw the growth in how people were relying on tech during the pandemic when they were home. They were obviously ordering a lot more from Amazon because they didn't want to go to the grocery store if they were at-home workers. And the company hired to accommodate that. And now they don't need as many people. But I heard your earlier point, Carol, about AI. I think that's part of it. But I also think that part of it is when these companies go through periods of opportunity where they see a lot of growth, they're seeing that trend line and they're hiring for the future. We're seeing it right now with AI. People are building out, these companies are building out data centers. They don't know if they're actually going to need all of that capacity long term, but they better make that deal today or else they might not have it when they need it. So we do see a lot of anticipatory investment from these tech companies over time that sometimes they need to pull back on. In big tech, we haven't seen as big a pullback as we have in the past few years since the pandemic. It's really been a change in the culture, this drive for efficiency, for reducing bureaucratic bloat. And it's not just a line they're throwing out there. We are seeing my colleague Matt Day wrote a really interesting story I encourage everyone to read about AWS and how AWS was at the forefront of cloud, really inventing the market. And in the era of AI, they have fallen back in preference for startups. They had that big outage we talked about last time I was on this show, and some of the employees are attributing that to bloat, to this bureaucratic culture, too many people working on the same things and things not getting done fast enough. So I think, although I hate to see people lose their jobs, I think that is where a lot of this is coming from, the idea that we need these companies in the age of AI to be working faster to try to catch their competitors.
I see.
So what they're basically saying is that it's a combination of the fact that they overhired, in addition to the idea that they have to create synergy. And what synergy is you have so many different people doing the same jobs, but then as they merge technologies and also in the era of AI, you're able to do things a lot more efficiently, which means that you don't need as many workers doing the same thing. Also, on top of that, they're saying that they're preparing. And with the let me address the overhiring thing. It used to be a time where you used to have to compete for workers that had a certain skill set. And so back during the pandemic, a lot of people was just getting certificates. They were doing boot camps, all of that type of stuff, right? But you're going to have to be essential to the company. You're going to have to be a person that adds value to the company in order for you to be able to compete for certain jobs. Otherwise, then you're just going to have to be able to compete to be a regular worker, and that's not going to pay a lot of money. But I do see more layoffs, and the interesting thing about that, it's not like the companies are suffering. Back in 2008, when everybody was laying off, everybody was basically bleeding money. I was looking at the latest profitability. I was looking at Ford's growth. I was looking at a lot of these different companies. They are solidly profitable and they are beating as far as the different quarters, but they are still becoming more lean, more efficient, more profitable, and the value is going to the people that are invested in the company. We should have been, for a long time, talking about investing in companies instead of taking vacations and making ourselves feel good. That way we wouldn't be impacted and we would be profiting off of the decisions that they're making today. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. We're going to talk about Stock Club tomorrow. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I'll keep y'all posted.